Today we speak of employee centricity. When COVID came, there was to an extent an employer's market where salaries were determined by the employer. The type of employees that they will hire was determined by them. Career progression and similar employee-centric activities were mostly confined in the realm of the employers. What has changed or what has brought back to focus the nature of employee cruciality is the pandemic. During the pandemic, many employees started working from home, and because of the ubiquity of the internet, social media sites such as LinkedIn, employees started discovering that either they can have multiple jobs at the same time, one for the daytime, one for the nighttime, or they are able to divide their productivity between companies, or worse still, their ability to move between the companies have increased manifold. When I speak with leadership in many of the companies, what comes to the fore is the talent shortage. The shortage of talents is not just at the top end of the companies where people are moving more rapidly, of course, but also even in smaller companies like startups and the fintech ecosystem, which badly needs good people to keep them afloat, because the difference between a good employee and a bad employee is the difference between a company that thrives and a company that shuts down. A few years ago, Harvard Business Press brought a book called Employees First, Customers Second. In other words, if you take care of the employees, most of the other things that you are struggling with will be taken care. Today, when we speak of employee centricity, when employees are predominantly from the millennial category and they do not care so much about loyalty, stickiness that we used to show when we were young employees, job for a lifetime becoming a valid currency but not used currency, we will have to think a few of the basic concepts. What are those few things which, based on my experience and my reading, that leaders today need to do? The first thing, what I call and what is famously described by many authors, is cultivating that romance for tomorrow. What is in it that is required to be done to secure ourselves, secure our organization for readiness for the future? This I have seen inspires a lot of employees because they believe that they are making efforts and they are being part of the game to take the organization into an era where probably they will survive, but the leadership will either probably retire or will move on. Second important thing is that having no hidden agenda. Transparency in the current employee centric market has been at a premium like never before. Whatever is happening, the bigger picture must be made clear, why a change is required and how change is the most minimum in order to take the organization forward must be made clear to them. What is tested is the courage of the convictions of the management. When initially change was being managed in large organizations, which I have seen myself, it was given to the employees as a given. The transparency in formulation, path to the go-to state was never made clear. Employers behaved very erratically while employees have staked their time, staked their career in making one particular initiative a success. So, very important, courage of the conviction of the management along with transparency brings a lot of employee centricity. What is the organizational structure? I always believe that people, process, technology, and governance are the four legs on which organization stands. Without changing the organizational structure upside down, we cannot be thinking of value creation for the customer, because typically the customer facing part of the organization is with the employees, not with the leadership or not with the board. The support functions in an organization like the finance, human resources, they should be made subservient to the front line. or the frontline employees should have a say in which how HR, finance, etc. are done. I always used to call all CXOs as the CEOs of their vertical. They should not think that they are only there to determine the destiny of the employees. Employees' role in making the change and the CEO like responsibility in some areas, at least in the implementation part, must be provided to the frontline. Employees have a mind, have an intellect, have an attitude, and have also a social set of values with which they operate. A few people who try to bring it down to naysaying and skepticism, how it should not be done, why it is a bad idea, why it will not be accepted by anybody, why customers will not see a value, or why it doesn't improve company's performance. Now, employee centricity also includes removing these misunderstandings periodically and understanding those values which are triggering these thought process. So, simple intuitive actions like engaging in town halls, engaging with people to bring them up to speed and removing their root cause of problems could also bring large amount of employee centricity. So, employee centricity being the demand of the day must be given serious thought by the employers. At the same time, specific steps beyond remuneration compensation must take place in order to bring an employer-employee cohesion. Thank you very much.